Hello, and welcome back to Coin Lady channel, where the cryptocurrency market is soaring after hearing of the SEC's latest crushing legal defeat. Or, as shown in the Daily Huddle's headline, Bitcoin and crypto assets jump after Grayscale wins lawsuit against the SEC over ETF approval. At the time I'm publishing this, XRP has risen to nearly 55 cents. Bitcoin has reached a high of $28,000 today, but is currently trading at a slight discount. However, this is being interpreted as a very encouraging indicator, as would be rationally expected. That's why, in my last video, I discussed the situation in detail from a legal standpoint. In this video, I'd like to discuss this issue, but in the context of what it means for the cryptocurrency markets in general and the price action we can anticipate. So if you're interested in the finer points, like from a legal standpoint how this broke out and what to expect going forward from the SEC and Grayscale, you should check them out. If you haven't seen any of my videos yet, it doesn't matter if you watch this one first or if you wait until you viewed them all in reverse chronological order. Because I can tell that there are similarities and differences in the treatment of the ETF and its current events. Therefore, it is irrelevant in which sequence you view them. Let me be quite clear before I go any further, I am not a financial expert and am not giving any sort of financial advice. And remember, you should never use anything I say as a reason to buy or sell something. I'm merely a hobbyist who likes to share his knowledge on crypto-related issues through YouTube videos. But only as a pastime and for recreation. Okay, so here's the XRP/BTC price chart for the past 24 hours on Live Coin Watch. As you can see, I constantly toggle between the two, which is further evidence that the entire asset class follows Bitcoin's lead. In fact, I'll just summarize what we're seeing here for the sake of those of you who care, even though you don't need to. However, at this time, all I see is the main screen of Live Coin Watch. And as you can see on the weekly charts on the right, it just shot up at the same time. Furthermore, not all charts look the same over the course of the last week, but many of them do. It is still the case in 2023 that the assets, individual crypto assets, are not sufficiently being parsed out in terms of actual utility, and just move in tandem. This is especially true if you include the stable coins, which are always going to behave differently, of course. That's why I'm interested in practical applications of the XRP coin, as I anticipate that utility will become increasingly important in the future. And it continues to track the rest of the crypto asset market. Unless a real flaw is discovered in the coding, I don't see how I could ever win with XRP. But that's completely implausible, considering it's been under siege for well over a decade. Nobody has been able to stop it so far. But other than that, I'm pretty damn secure in myself. That is all I want to say. Not to mention the fact that XRP is the only global large-cap coin with unambiguous legal status in the US. The funds have already been airlifted in. There have been numerous reports, both before and after the Judge Torres issued a judgment on the requests for summary judgment, that XRP lacks security, and I've been emphasizing this fact more than usual recently. Therefore, I have been emphasizing the need to complete the puzzle. BlackRock has arrived at the gates seeking permission to launch a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund, ETF, on the spot market, and I have some news about that. Approval of the first spot Bitcoin ETF based in the United States could come as soon as this week. Actually, I'll discuss that in a second. But before we get to that, I wanted to give you some context from a chart handleless Credible Crypto's point of view, since he was already anticipating a move in this direction. And this just further solidifies my conviction. Anyway, here is the crypto that I found trustworthy that he tweeted to his 346,400 followers on Twitter X. Once we get back up to $30,000, that's when the fear of missing out terror and disbelief kick in. Just wait until that area is regained if you think this pump is powerful now. Naturally, you also noticed a Bitcoin. Then, in a different thread, he said, this market has been since $15,000, probably the most offsides. Despite widespread belief that Bitcoin would soon go below $24,800, there was actually no change in market structure to warrant such extreme bearishness. Max Payne's mission is to keep the momentum going and leave the rest of the pack in the dust, just like we've done countless times before. That's why he's so upbeat. Price fluctuations like these in the cryptocurrency market are always exciting to watch, and this seems to be one of the rare cases where there is actual news that causes such a shift to occur. Absolutely. Yes. Oh, and I promise to keep this short. I mentioned this in my most recent video, but in this case, the pricing implications are really important to me. Therefore, I will only quickly mention it here. Everyone welcome huge money to the table for better or worse is the title of a post by Jeremy Hogan, who also linked to an MSDN article on the subject. A judge has ruled in favor of Grayscale over SEC, suggesting that the first Bitcoin ETF may be on the horizon. And this is precisely the point I wanted to make. Dave Weisberger, CEO of CoinRounds, said this. He made a direct allusion to the judgment made earlier today. It's a sure bet that they'll give their stamp of approval to BlackRock and Fidelity. Grayscale might have to re-register. However, they will almost definitely also be sanctioned. The interesting part, then, is this. I think I've made myself very clear on this point. It's impossible to exaggerate how much of an advancement this will be for the crypto industry. Even while I and attorney Deaton were both very certain that the outcome would be as depicted above, the technicalities of Grayscale make it clear that we didn't know. However, since you are aware of this fact, the pricing does not reflect it. The trend upwards was clearly visible. The question now is whether or not it is assumed that BlackRock will be granted approval. Have we factored it in? The approval of BlackRock's or your chosen company for this may cause a rush in activity, so maybe that's not the case. What happens next is much more fascinating, though, because it guarantees market excitement and the participation of those who are currently active in the crypto world. And it's possible that prices might rise as a result. But that's not the most interesting thing, the fact that, once the darn thing goes live, you're going to have this flow into the realm of crypto, practically forever, for as long as markets exist, is wonderful. The sum, because you may expect a flood of cash from sources that normally wouldn't deal with cryptocurrency. You'd only shift your focus to a different investment. However, the future of this is in cryptography. So even if there is a significant increase, that's good. What excites me most, though, is that users will have many ETFs available and a guarantee that whenever the product goes live, an ETF will go live with it. That way. Like the New York Stock Exchange, people will always have a convenient way to gain exposure to Bitcoin. In the future, I anticipate further exchange-traded funds, ETFs, for XRP and other cryptocurrencies. That seems like an absolute certainty to me. Yes, but that's exactly what I mean. This is why it's so thrilling even if the incoming cash flow doesn't immediately increase by a big amount. It would be a constant flow, continuing into the foreseeable future. This is exciting because of this. And it's possible that we'll hear launch news this week. Honestly, I have no idea if this is going to occur. But now it seems entirely plausible that it will occur as soon as this week. Bloomberg Intelligence, a known crypto pundit, has predicted that a spot Bitcoin ETF might go live in the United States as soon as this week. The highly anticipated debut of a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund in the United States may occur as early as September 4th, according to intelligence gathered by Bloomberg. According to the company, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission will decide whether to approve, deny, or defer various applications from BlackRock, Bitwise, WisdomTree, VanEck, and Invesco in the coming days. Okay, so let me halt right here to emphasize that the absolute earliest the BlackRock application may be delayed is March of next year. 2020, so I guess that's it. And here we are, on the cusp of September. In any case, the distance isn't huge, and I seriously doubt they'll come out and admit it. My wager is already on the table. My money is on BlackRock being the first firm licensed but if that doesn't happen, I'm betting on a batch of approvals all at once. Furthermore, some uncertainty is added by the grayscale. Here, even though grayscale scored a major victory today, that doesn't mean they'd be the first to get approved. I believe they will eventually be granted approval for a spot Bitcoin ETF, but they'll need to resubmit their application, which will push them further down the line. They might be accepted simultaneously with a large group of others. However, at this time I plan to maintain my current voting preference. Just little fun for your guests. It's possible I'm wrong, but I think BlackRock will be the first to get the green light. If not them, then X people, where X is some number between 2 and 3. However, a large number of businesses are being granted approval at once. I expect this to be the case if Grayscale is able to resubmit their application in a timely manner. That is, after all, what I would assume to be the case. Then, perhaps, they will be bribed into giving their stamp of approval. Regardless, tranquility prevails. The SEC is scheduled to make a decision on the first application from Bitwises on Friday, September 1st, according to Bloomberg Intelligence. On Saturday, September 2nd, a decision is required on the remaining 4 filings submitted by BlackRock, Invesco, WisdomTree, and VanEck. In such case, I'll pause the recording there. If the deadline is the subject of your inquiry, it is possible that a decision will be made earlier. Okay, so that's what you can expect for Bitwise this Friday with a bit of wisdom, and then on Saturday you can expect BlackRock on the rest. A lot of people I know in the financial industry have theorized that the government might rule on all this on Friday, as they are less inclined to do so on the weekend. So, let's find out if that's the case. However, in this case, the cutoff date is September 2nd. What you're talking about is an insane sum of money if this happens. As I was saying, getting some much-needed exposure to the crypto world via the New York Stock Exchange and conventional finance, while keeping your Bitcoin in cold storage. That's the way it functions. So if you want exposure to the cryptocurrency market, you may purchase an exchange-traded fund, ETF, on the New York Stock Exchange, and then, say, BlackRock gets approved and has to buy a boatload of Bitcoin to match that ETF. That's the way it functions. Therefore, the dynamics of supply and demand will be completely irrational. And you can guess what that would do to the entire area, since it moves in unison. Once we stop making a profit, how much money do you think will eventually come in? How much money do you think will be invested in XRP and other large-cap cryptocurrencies? You can bet a lot that I do. Until market euphoria hits, of course. This time, I can't say exactly when it will occur, nonetheless, it is inevitable that it will. In 2018, I made the same point. Constant throughout 2019 as well. Things heated up in 2020, and by 2021, everyone was over the moon. And I made no pretenses about knowing when precisely that would occur. I mean, come on, obviously it would. Crypto is one of the most intriguing investment opportunities out now. There's also this headline, disregard it and move on. The data is from the middle of this month, yet Bloomberg released it. Bernstein thinks that if exchange-traded funds are given the green light, they might represent 10% of Bitcoin's market value. But yeah, whatever the number is, whether it's a little bit more than that or a little bit less, whatever it is, that's an amazing amount of money streaming in, and it's going to make up the price of Bitcoin. Holy crap. In my opinion, it's already relatively unimportant. Regardless of this. Yes, you're talking about even more money coming in, but in the future it would still reach a new all-time high. We can expect craziness. With XRP's newly established legal status, the last 6 years have been the most exciting in the history of the cryptocurrency industry. Things are falling into place like never before. We have to wait for events to play out, that much is true. Furthermore, I am unsure of how the schedule will unfold. Well, damn. Actually, I think a majority of you share my sentiments. Right? It certainly isn't just me. This is incredible. This is mind-blowing information. When only 10% of Bitcoins are involved, the market value ends up being what it is due to ETFs. Once we get to that point again, I'm excited to see the actual stats. You guys are in for a good time. Once again, the significance and incredibleness of this is difficult to express. And we were here long before virtually everyone else on the earth. Only approximately 4% of people have ever held crypto. However, the real money is with the institutions, which is why we focus on it. We've arrived well ahead of time. Ahead of BlackRock, no less. Positioned. I couldn't be happier. Thus, the situation is resolved. We have to put up with the SEC and its bullshit for the past 2.5 years, unfortunately. This, too, is going to turn out well. We've finally arrived. So fasten your seatbelts, because you're in for a pretty exciting journey. Obviously, you shouldn't base any major purchases on my advice, because I'm not a financial expert. Please like and subscribe my channel. See you later, bye.